let's head to the Upper West region now. And the Regional Security Council there has banned night transportation of subsidized government fertilizer to Burkina Faso. Now, the measures, among several others, employed to curb the smuggling of the produce to neighboring countries. 13,500 bags of subsidized government fertilizer valued at 1,620,000 cedis were illegally moved to Burkina on June 8. Chairman of the Upper West Regional Security Council, Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, has directed all vehicles carrying fertilizer to report at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council for routine check. JoyNews' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Tumu.
One major challenge faced by the Planting for Food and Jobs program introduced by government is the smuggling of farm inputs by accredited input dealers into neighboring countries, especially Burkina Faso. In fact, the Upper West region hogged the headlines for the wrong reasons for the sea of subsidized government fertilizer that were smuggled into Burkina Faso by some accredited government input dealers, prompting a visit by the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Afriakoto, to the region to put a lid on it.
For me, I could cry. To be honest, I could cry that the government comes into power, brings such unprecedented opportunities for the poorest in society, and the little food that they put into their mouth, you take the food out of their mouth. How wicked can that be? And now Upper West region has this unfortunate title of the smuggling capital of Ghana.
Yeah. 3 years after the visit, it appears some of the accredited input dealers have not turned over a new leaf. The farming season has barely begun in the region, and a total of 13,500 bags of the commodity valued at 1,620,000 Ghana cedis have already been smuggled into Burkina Faso, according to Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali.
Intelligence got to us that smuggling was taking place, particularly in Sesala West. But we got alarmed when we got information that on the 8th of June this year, about 45 rhino trucks carted fertilizer, each carrying about 300 bags of fertilizer into Burkina Faso.
Rafiq Salam joins us for more on this. Hello, Rafiq. Do we know if the drivers who cart these fertilizers have been complying with the directive since it was given?
The minister issued a fiat a couple of days ago, and for now, the that are loading fertilizer into the Upper West region, I can see in front of the RCC, and first they meet the officer at the RCC before they head to their various destinations, if it is the Sesala East or Sesala West. And so for now, I can see that they are adhering to the directive with regards to reporting to the Upper West RCC.
Rafiq, do we know if these people use unapproved routes as well?
Bernice, we did stories about porous borders, and I can tell you that there are several loopholes in the system. In the Sesala enclave, from the Tumu area up to Ahambele, about 200 kilometers, the borders there are porous. And so the most widely used place is the Sesala West. There we don't have even a border. So any other community could pass into Ghana. And so that's why the smuggling is taking place in that particular area. And so, so if you want the kind of trucks that are coming to that port, you can see as many as 50 heavy trucks loaded with fertilizer. And when you ask them, all of them will be telling you that they are going to the Sesala East or the Sesala West. Why are they not going to the other districts? And so you know that it's because of the porous nature of our borders. That's why they want to take it to the Sesala West or the Sesala East to smuggle those fertilizers into Burkina Faso.
Rafiq, did the minister or any member of REGSEG indicate how they were going to tackle this from the roots? Because definitely there's a supplier, and this is supposed to go to the farmers, I believe, and those carting them are smuggling them to neighboring Burkina Faso. So there appears to be a systemic problem. Do they mention if they are dealing with this beyond the ban on the carting of the produce?
Yeah, they have come up with several measures. One that I told you about, which they have to report to the Upper West RCC before they move to their destination. They will know the quantity of the fertilizer that particular vehicle is carrying, and the heavy vehicle is supposed to offload these commodity into a warehouse. So at the moment, they haven't allowed heavy trucks to be going around distributing fertilizer. So their distributing point where they are cutting this produce or this fertilizer to is to be a warehouse, and there they will use the smaller vehicles to take them to the farmers. And so the rule that they came out with, that curfew imposed on the transport of the fertilizer between 6 a.m. and into 6 p.m. And so they are not allowed to cut fertilizer in the night. And so that's one serious measure that they came out with. And in any cases, if you are going to even take it from one to any other area, you have to inform the police, and so the police will lead you to some of these communities. So these are the measures that they have come out with. But the minister also revealed that since the start of the farming season, the Department of Agriculture, I'm talking about Upper West, has sent names. They have shortlisted some names, some input accredited dealers to be sent to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And on 3 occasions, that list has been rejected by the ministry. And so they are coming out with the first list because some of the people that had their names, or some of the dealers that had their names that were sent were already blacklisted by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And so the minister is having a new list. And so if you have any bad record or checkered history regarding the transport of fertilizer in the Upper West region, those people, their names have been removed for now. But the difficulty that I don't think they will have in tackling this issue is that most of the people who are engaged in this illegal business, most of them are politicians. They are politicians, and so I'm wondering whether the REGSEG will have the ball to fight them.
All right, Rafiq, finally, let's talk about those who are the victims of this practice, the farmers themselves. What have they been saying about this latest directive?
Farmers are really worried about what is happening because at the moment, fertilizer is not, we don't have much fertilizer in the system. And so some of them were worried about the number or the sea of fertilizer that were carted out of the country. About 30,500 bags of fertilizer carted out of the country. In terms of monetary terms, about 1,620,000. And so they're not really happy about the situation. And also, they also had a challenge because this directive that the REGSEG came out with, they think that the directive will help them, but somehow it will inconvenience them. They cited instances like if you go to a market like Tumu Market or Walambela Market or a place like Bulu Market and you buy your fertilizer, you are not, they were wondering whether they can cut those produce to their various communities. And who the minister answered that they are not talking about heavy trucks, they are not talking about smaller trucks. Heavy trucks are the ones that are not supposed to move in the night. But as for the small trucks, they will allow them to take them to their communities. But the farmers in the Upper West region, they are really deeply worried about it. And even the entire citizens here in the Upper West region are really deeply worried about the sea of fertilizer being carted out to Burkina Faso.
Rafiq Salam joining us from the Upper West region, giving us details on the latest directive by the REGSEG in the Upper West region. We head to the northern region now, where there are heightened calls on government to fix a 100-meter stretch which has become a death trap. And this is after some persons escaped what would have been a fatal accident. The poor nature of the road has been blamed for several accidents, including one involving a pregnant woman. Eyewitnesses have been venting their frustration. We'll bring you that story later.